No. For me, it's not even a question of him being worthy.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing that I know is that Patrice was a leader of the ANC. And there've been videos doing the rounds where he was going to campaigns and so forth.
A leader in what capacity, comrade?
Well, he was a leader, a member of the ANC.
Or a member?
A member.
Card carrying?
Yes, a member of the ANC. And you must also recognize that there were, several people who went into business who were sympathetic to the ANC. And Patrice is one of them. For me, it's not entirely about what will happen to or the dignity of the ANC. Because if you look at the ANC does not have any moral standing as we speak.
Jeez,
so
that's tough.
To say, it will not, it will be a betrayal of some sort. For me, I look at the country more than the ANC. And the question that I ask is, to save our country, because our country has a litany of challenges. So the question that I ask is, what type of leader does South Africa need in order for us to change course? And if we look at the ANC, and if the ANC is obviously going to contest, would that leader be able to save the ANC? And would that leader be able to ensure that the ANC becomes a leader of society again?
Sorry, the last point I wanted to add, in the last elections of 2024, Motsepe, through his companies and I think his trusts, funded the ANC, the EFF, I'm not sure about the DA and the Freedom Front Plus. So again, as an ANC heavyweight, to have someone like that who's just funded some of our oppositions in the last elections, yes, sorry. Okay. But I hear the questions you're raising.
So all I'm trying to say is the question that I think many ANC members and leaders are asking themselves, how do we save the ANC? And perhaps Patrice might not be the right candidate.
For you?
For me, I
Would you consider him?
Of course.
Okay.
From an economic perspective. We are speaking about thousands of young people who are looking for jobs. And the reality is that politicians, and I come from politics, we do not know how to create jobs.
Do you think Patrice knows how to create jobs?
Well, he is a product of whiteness, of course.
Do you think Cyril Ramaphosa, he came in as a billionaire president, do you think he knows how to create jobs?
A few jobs.
At Shanduga.
Remember, there's a vast difference between someone who has created some job and a politician who has never created a particular job. But of course, the ANC has created a developmental state and so forth. But Patrice is not he's not the ideal candidate. What I would really love to see from the ANC, and I think it might happen, I think you would have the likes of Thabo Mbeki, who's quite old, attempting to intervene. Because
as a leader?
No. To intervene in terms of who takes over. Because now you are stuck with Fikile Mbalula.
You're stuck. You decided to use the word stuck.
Well,
we are being gifted.
And unfortunately,
with the Fikile Mbalula. We are being blessed. These are the words.
But you can imagine.
Not stuck.
But you can imagine if Fikile Mbalula is the best that the ANC can offer, then we are in trouble.
Is he?
Because if the ANC wins and it's able to go into a coalition, you will then have him as a president.
But is he the best that the ANC has to offer right now?
No, of course.
I mean, he's the guy that negotiated, I'd like to think, the GNU with Helen Zille. He was the guy.
No, he was forced to negotiate because people had outvoted the ANC. The ANC
sure, but it's like Kodesa. I know Ramaphosa now, but they were forced to negotiate. So
Mbalula
comes like a Ramaphosa, Helen Zille becomes the next Rolf Mayor for a government of national unity.
Unfortunately, the thing about Mbalula, he does not take himself seriously. So he cannot expect society to take him seriously.
But at least we'll have good laughs. The country will get to relax. He used to be a minister of... Uraz Matez was the minister of fun. So a bunch of losers. Huh? I'm actually serious because this is an ANC Youth League president. This is a guy who served as in a bunch of ministerial posts. He's currently the SG of the ANC. So I'm not sure.
They would never allow that as the ANC.
Come on.
They would never.
Oh,
Fikile Mbalula. You think Fikile Mbalula...
Did I not just give you his portfolio?
How are they going to stop him?
Did I not just give you his portfolio?
Well,
you would have said exactly what you're saying now if I told you he's running for ANC Youth League president. He might be a minister of the police. What else? He was minister of roads or whatever.
But here's how the ANC just
and now he's the SG. I don't understand what you're saying. And he was sent to negotiate a GNU.
But here's what I'm
saying. And you're
like,
they would never allow. The guy's been given so much leadership.
The ANC now is at a point where they're like, okay, out of everyone in the whole leadership or anyone in the ANC, who can get us votes? Whether it's in the ANC or outside of the ANC. I don't think
Cyril was the guy that they put forward to get them votes.
Outside of, who was there? Zuma.
No, it doesn't matter. But I don't think he was the guy to get them votes is my argument.
Who would have been?
No. Forget who would have been.
Yeah.
Forget who would have been. That's what I'm saying with Tumbalula.
And can I just quickly...
It's not so much about... That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
is he the best? Because it may not be.
To get votes is not.
Yes. And can I just quickly say something? If you're following Patrice, you need to look at the December prayer session where he was able to fill FNB Stadium.
But that's money. He does that
every
year.
Who does not use money in politics?